What is up, everybody? It's CJ Plays here, and I'm back with another Rockwood Island renovation video. So the house that we're going to be furnishing today is called the Peony. It is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom home, and I'm building this house for a household of vampires. Originally, I knew I wanted to make this house kind of spooky, scary looking, because it's like an old Victorian style home. It's like the house on the edge of the street, so it kind of like adds to the spookiness in my opinion. So I was like, maybe we can kind of make this house for a household of vampires. So you'll see really quick that the house becomes very like old-fashioned, I guess you could say. It's kind of like a older style on the inside. I wanted to kind of like step outside of my comfort zone. I don't really ever tackle Victorian style homes, or I really don't ever build them in The Sims. So I was like, maybe we can have like some older Victorian touches in here. So I kind of went with a nice fancy-ish wallpaper. Like, I don't think this house will be like historically accurate or anything like that. This is kind of just me building off of vibes, you know? So I was trying to like combine like old vintage with like vampires, which kind of goes hand in hand in my opinion, because like vampires, especially in The Sims 3, but I guess like in lore, they tend to age really slow. They live for like a really long time. So I was kind of like thinking like maybe this family has been here for a while. The lore that I have in my brain, because like if you don't know, whenever I do like furnishing videos like this, I'll usually start out with one idea and I'll end up with another one, you know? So originally, like I said, this was just going to be a house for vampires, but then I was like, no, CJ, I got a better storyline. So yes, this is a house for vampires, but this is a house for vampires who have been banished. So the lore that I came up with is that the family that lives here, they used to live in like another Sims 3 world. I couldn't really tell you like a specific name, but we'll just say like the world was full of vampires, right? It was a vampire dominated society. However, the dad, I don't know what he did, but the dad that lives in this house somehow, some way pissed off all of the other vampires and they got banished. But this was like years and years ago. Now, like I said, vampires tend to live for a really long time. So even though it's been like years, hundreds of years since that happened, the vampires in that world that are still around still remember it. So they're still banished, you know? So they moved to Rockwood Island and they're kind of just trying to somewhat integrate into society. You know, they have to like work to, you know, pay the bills and stuff like that, but they usually tend to stay to themselves, aside from like having to go out at night to hunt. But they usually tend to kind of stay to themselves. You know, they go to work, they're trying to like integrate into society, you know? They're like the one family that you see in the town that's always walking around with the umbrella in the broad daylight. Yeah, it's them. So as you can see, we're kind of like starting off in the like foyer area. So I use a lot of like spooky-ish objects. I use like the movie stuff chair, the bookshelf from the Oh My Goth set, or one of the Oh My Goth sets. This little like nook space right here, I decided to turn into a living room. So I had to use the TV from the base game. It's like one of my favorite TVs, but I wanted to kind of pair it up with this gothic couch. And then I was trying to find like the matching chair, and come to find out, the chair that I was thinking about is not a like living room chair. It's classified as like a dining chair. So I was like, I don't think I want to use that in here. So I ended up like pairing it up with the chair from the university pack, and I thought it looked a lot better in here. And then I was like, ooh, CJ, since we're kind of going for like a spooky like vibe anyway, why don't I just use that little spider end table? So there's like this little end table. It comes from the Oh My Goth set, and it has like a spider web on it, and I was like, oh, that would be perfect up here. I almost used that other one from the Regal set, but then I was like, no, we have to commit to the spooky. I did go back and recolor it, and then now I'm trying to add some curtains in the house, because, you know, this is a house for vampires, you know. They don't really like the sun. They don't have the lifetime wish to sparkle in the sun. So, you know, I put up these curtains. They're from the Oh My God set as well. I think it's supposed to be like an art piece, but I use them as curtains because they kind of look like curtains, you know. And then this is just me now trying to tackle the kitchen area. Honestly, this house kind of reminds me of the Realm of Magic pack from The Sims 4, like especially like the wallpaper and the furnishing. It just kind of reminds me of that pack. But moving on to the kitchen though, I'm using base game countertops. I'm also using the stove and fridge from the Midnight Hollow world on The Sims 3 store, because I never really get a chance to use those objects anyway. And since this house is kind of like older, I was like, we can definitely try to like make it look a little bit, you know, outdated and stuff. Now, unfortunately, I had an idea for this kitchen, but it didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to. So in The Sims 4, if you go to like Vlad's house in Forgotten Hollow, you'll see that his kitchen has cobwebs like inside of it because he doesn't use it, because vampires don't really need to eat food in The Sims 4. And I was going to try to do something similar for this house because we do have cobweb like objects. However, I think we only have around 3 of them, and they're all in different shapes, and none of the shapes were actually working for the kitchen. So I was like, I don't think we're going to be able to like do spider webs, which I kind of wanted to really bad, but yeah, because I wanted the kitchen to kind of signify that they don't really use the kitchen ever, because they just drink plasma. They don't neat to cook, you know? So unfortunately, the spider webs didn't work, but we could just say that they don't really use the kitchen that much. So like in The Sims 3, you can get plasma juice as like a quick meal from the fridge. So, you know, maybe they use the fridge, but they don't really use the stove, you know? I also use the table and the chairs from the Regal set from the Sims 3 store. I kind of feel like they kind of fit the vibe of the house. I also added a microwave in here, and I also added a sink, just in case your Sims move in here. Maybe your Sims aren't vampires, you know, they still need a kitchen, you know? This is the first room that we're gonna tackle. So this was gonna be a bedroom, but then I was like, well, there's 3 bedrooms upstairs, so maybe we can make this into like a home office space. I kind of feel like the mom is mainly in here, like on the computer all day long. Maybe she's playing like The Sims or something, I don't know. But I can imagine her playing like games and stuff on her computer down here. So I kind of made this like an office, but it's mainly her office, you know? So I went with a nice like pinky like floral design for the wallpaper. I thought it looked kind of good and vintage, you know? I also used this desk. I think it's free on the Sims 3 store. I can't remember, but I know it's store content. And then now I'm trying to figure out what kind of bookshelf to use. So I ended up using this one. I forgot what set it comes with, but it is store content. So I used that bookshelf in here. I thought it looked kind of vintage in a way. And then I also used this rug. I forgot what set this rug comes with. Is it the Oh My God set? Maybe, possibly. Some of you may already know, I complain a lot about the rugs in The Sims 3 because a lot of them, like this one, for example, you can recolor it, but you can't change the design of it. And that part always annoys me because sometimes you'll have a rug in The Sims 3 that is the perfect size and, you know, you can recolor it, but you can't really change how it looks, and that just annoys me so much. So I used the rug in here and I tried to recolor it as best I could to kind of make it blend in a little bit more. I also used like the goth chair in here, and then I was also using like the record player from the Supernatural pack. And then this is like the point when I realized that I could not put this like curtain or like art thing on the wall, so I had to like swap out the curtains in here from some from the store. I forgot what set, but I used like some different curtains from the store, and those look a little bit better in here too. I did recolor them all so it can all match and stuff, but yeah, basically it's a very similar looking object as you can see. But this one actually let me put it on the other wall. I tried to put a lot of curtains in this house because I'd imagine that the vampires would mainly have all the curtains drawn during the daytime so they don't burn alive, you know. But for the sake of the speed build, you know, I kind of just like had them, you know, to the side like that. Oh, I also put like a lunar horoscope item because I like to imagine that the family likes to keep up with the cycles of the moon. In my brain, I'm like, they do that to kind of keep up with what day or what night is like the best time to hunt for like the best taste in plasma or something. I don't know. I just wanted to put one of those in here though. And then moving on, this is the first bathroom downstairs. So I went with like a goldenish orangey color in here for the bathroom. I used like the leaf wallpaper, and I was trying to like find some nice older looking tubs and toilets and stuff like that, so I kind of went with the ones from the Regal set. And then I also used like the mirror from the Regal set as well. I used the S3DT mod to actually raise it up a little bit. I also complain about this a lot in The Sims 3. Sometimes the mirrors in the game, I just wish that you could like raise them up a little bit, but you can't without a mod, and it's so annoying. I just wish that it could do it like you can in The Sims 4. So I had to use the mod to kind of raise up this mirror a little bit above the counters, and I thought it looked a lot nicer in here. I also went back and I added like a wall light in here just to kind of make the room a little bit brighter, and that's pretty much everything for the downstairs. So the first room that we're going to tackle upstairs is the parents' room. So originally I was going to put the vampire altar and the double bed in here, but I was like, that's too much for one room. It's also a little unfortunate how there is no double version of the vampire altar for like 2 Sims, and I didn't really want to put 2 of them together to kind of make one bed, so I ended up just using like the double bed in here. Maybe the parents don't mind sleeping on a normal bed, you know. I kind of went with the like purpley kind of color in here, and I also used like the bedroom set from the Supernatural expansion pack. So we used the bed, the nightstands, the dresser. I also used like that little magical mirror object. I've used it before, but I don't really use it all too often, I guess, outside of like Supernatural gameplay. So it's kind of cool to like use it for this house. I'm also using some of the paintings from the Supernatural pack, and this bedroom also has an ensuite that's attached to it. So I decided to like use the objects from the Cambodia set on the Sims 3 store, and I thought they looked kind of nice. They kind of look really fancy, and I was like, oh yeah, the family here would definitely have something like that in their bathroom. I kind of went with a more like yellowy, like golden-ish kind of color scheme for the bathroom. I was really trying to like use a lot of objects that I don't really ever use that much, so we're using like the Cambodia stuff in here. I think I used a matching sink as well. And then I used the mirror from the World Adventures expansion pack, and I also raised that up a little bit as well. But that's pretty much everything for this room. Now, the second bedroom that we're going to be tackling is the teens room. So the couple have 2 children. They have a teenage son, and they have a baby girl that's literally like a baby. So the teenage son is really burnt out on being a vampire. He wants to be a human. Well, I feel like he either wants to be a human or he wants to be a werewolf. You know, he's kind of like flipping, flopping a little bit. So he's kind of going through like a phase, I would say. But one thing for sure, he is tired of being a vampire. The reason why is because he's like a teenager and he wants to live a normal teen life, and he can't really go to the school on the island because he's a vampire. He would burn alive. His parents are like, for your safety and our safety, let's just have you stay home and you could just take like online classes or something like that, or just be homeschooled. But he wants to go out and like, you know, actually be a member of society and like do stuff, but his parents are like, no. And I kind of feel like he's met a couple of like teens online just to kind of talk to, you know, in chat rooms, and one of those teens happens to be a werewolf. So I think that's like his current obsession, but I feel like his previous obsession was like wanting to be a human, but now he wants to be a werewolf. So he has like a werewolf poster, he has like a little dog calendar in his room. But moving on, this is the last bedroom. So this is a nursery. This is for a baby. The mom just had a baby, so the baby's here. And I kind of wanted this room to be a little bit brighter and cheerier than like the other rooms in the house. You know, the other rooms are kind of like darker, but I wanted this one to be kind of like bright and cheery. So I went with a yellowy blue color scheme in here. So we have like the blue and white cloud wallpaper. I was going to put a changing table in here, but I was like, this is too big. So I swapped it out for a rocking chair. I also ended up putting like a little toy box in here and like a little circular rug. It took me a while to get the colors just right in this room, but in the end, I think everything turned out really good. Oh, I also used like this nice little base game painting. I think that's base game, but that's pretty much everything for the entire build. The only other room that I tackled after this one is just the upstairs bathroom, which I kind of went with a like orangey reddish kind of color scheme with some leaf wallpaper on it. But that's pretty much everything for the entire house, y'all. So if you want to download this house, I will leave it linked down below as always. Also, be sure to stick around for the screenshots just so you can see how the house will look when you download it. Like I said, I had to rotate the vampire altar. Like, you couldn't use it if your sim was on the first floor. You would have to make your sim go to the second floor to use it. So I ended up like swapping it around just so your sims can use it on any floor, you know. But that's pretty much everything for this video, y'all. So I will see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for watching.